Oh dear. Okay, so I was telling you about the Hutch space station, and on the Hutch space station, it's a very large space station, and generally speaking, the people who live on the space station, it's actually a spaceship, but it's a space station because no one's been able to figure out how to turn the engines back on again to get it moving. And as far as where it's located, it's not really known. It's space, and the control panel is not in English. It's an extraterrestrial uh, built ship, and all the markings on it are in some extraterrestrial language. And the only way you can figure things out is trial and error. In other words, you push this button, see what happens, and so far, all they've been able to do is set up a communications link. They haven't been able to figure out too much more than that. And the space station itself, it's that's the story. And there are other transport ships that come and dock with this particular space station. But generally speaking, they're the people that dock with the space station. Um, they come to have a party, and they drop off supplies. But no one has offered to get this space station fully active, probably because no one really knows how. It's pretty much self-sufficient. It stays heated, and there's oxygen on board, and there's electricity, but no one really knows too much more about it. And the transport ships that come, they're foreign. So, I mean, there's people that do arrive on the Hutch that speak English, but most of the transport ships that come, the crew of those transport ships don't come on board the Hutch. Most likely because they don't speak English and they don't like to drink whiskey because the Hutch is known as a rest and relaxation kind of place where you can come in to the bars and hang out. Um, and I don't know what else it's known for. There's been some um, small businesses that come and go. Um, and the spaceship is so big that there could be other groups of people on it, and they're not in communication because the spaceship is foreign built and no one understands how to get the intercoms working. If the intercoms are on, then they stay on, and if they're off, they stay off because no one has been able to figure it out. And even with trial and error, they don't like to flip too many switches because they're terribly afraid they might turn off the heat, or they might turn off the air or the electricity, and then they'll be in a real kettle of fish. So they prefer not to touch the controls. They're not in English, and even the controls that they have played with, they kind of regret that they ever got involved with it because things got turned on, and they don't know how to turn them off. And the more they play with it, the more they get yelled at. So you can imagine, being marooned on a space station where you're with your friends and you're pretty much happy, and it's kind of frightening to leave because not knowing exactly where in space this spaceship is, how on earth are you ever going to get back to it? So these people have had other friends that have left, and most of them don't come back. One person came back for just to pick up a suitcase and left. Um, Generally speaking, this is the nature of the Hutch space station, and they don't really understand why they're given regular deliveries of supplies. It's like, people know that it's there, but they come in and they're not much into doing anything but going to the bar and taking pictures of themselves at this bar. And they don't stay on board the space station. They come in, they have some drinks, and then they go. It's kind of like a tourist attraction. So anyways, if you've ever heard of the Hutch space station, when you've been talking with extraterrestrials, because there's quite a few people on planet Earth these days that are channeling extraterrestrials, you could ask your friends if they know anything about the Hutch space station. And any information you can give us, just put it in a comment somewhere or send me a message or something, and I'll relay it to the people at the Hutch to give them an update. You know what channeling is, don't you? Channeling seems to be very available to people now. When I was young, no one ever heard of it. But it's more and more known to young people, possibly because a lot of young people are waking up and remembering that they had past lives on other planets, and they're called star seeds, and they're remembering things. They seem to be way more advanced at, I don't know, 25 years of age than when I was 25. No one knew anything other than you could watch Star Wars or Star Trek. But these young people, they seem to be much more memorizing remembering their past lives, and then they're able to channel, quite often it's Ashtar Command or the Pleiadians are very common. And why? Well, why are they able to remember? I don't really know. Nobody in my group when we were 25 thought that we were, extraterrestrials. We were very occluded from our past histories. We didn't have past life memories at all. Nowadays, people seem to really remember these things, and I don't. I don't. At one point, I thought I would be getting information about past lives, but I've discounted it now. And even some of the people that say they've had past lives, they say, I was Cleopatra. And, really, you were Cleopatra. I'm supposed to believe you were the Cleopatra, Queen of Egypt, over 2,000 years ago. But that's what they say, and I generally discount these kind of things. I mean, there was only one Cleopatra, and 7.5 billion people on planet Earth, and this one just so figures that, it was me, my past life, I was Cleopatra. So it's very hard to get people to believe the stories, even about me being in communication with the Hutch space station, because people my age just don't even know anything about channeling, and they don't know about telepathy. It's just words.